Your friend is deserting you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the He-Man episode reviews. This time I'm going to be closing the book on the episodes of Antoni Zalewski. Now Zalewski, you might remember, made my list of the worst writers from this series. I want to say I was maybe a bit harsh in that assessment, but when you look at his body of work, there isn't a whole lot to defend there. The funny part in all of this, however, is that I have actually already reviewed 3 out of his 4 total episodes. I reviewed his best episode, The Hunt for He-Man, all the way back in 2014 as a part of my Season 2 lookbacks. I covered his co-writing effort with Larry DiTillio, The Gambler, the following year, and of course, last year I finally bit the bullet on The Island of Fear, which was Bossov's debut episode. But with all of that taken into account, his very first script on He-Man might in fact be his absolute worst. So let's now tackle He-Man episode 69, nice, The Gamesman. This episode starts with possibly the dumbest fake-out in this series, with full danger music, until it's revealed that the characters are rushing to see King Randor being schooled in a chess game by a guy called Lord Todd. Yeah, fucking Todd. Lord Todd is a nobleman bearing gifts who invites Teela to his castle for an unspecified reason. Meanwhile, Orko and Cringer get scared by a monster while He-Man's also being summoned to Grayskull. Luckily, Adam and Duncan split off so that Duncan can go get the exposition while Adam deals with the monster, who in actuality turns out to be a giant telepathic mole creature, Moak. Moak doesn't actually want to hurt anyone and just keeps causing havoc because of his bad eyesight. And after a short confrontation with He-Man, he lets the poor fella go. In the meanwhile, Teela is getting a tour of Todd's castle, and she has slowly revealed that Todd is actually a bit of a chess-obsessed creepshow. He finally confirms this by telling her that he's an interdimensional collector who turns people into chess pieces and wants Teela as her queen. And I mean that literally, he wants to turn her into a chess piece. Duncan, who got the lowdown from the sorceress, arrives at the castle and gets in trouble, so Teela almost submits. He-Man does show up, but he and Duncan get trapped in Todd's maze. Luckily, Moak shows up and helps the heroes reach the center of Todd's castle. Unfortunately, Teela's epic kung fu kick pushes her through the Stargate, so we get one more diversion into the dimensional gap before the heroes escape. After which, all of Todd's possessions disappear from Eternia. Now, I'm gonna be very blunt here and admit that the number one reason I hate this episode is because of the villain, Lord Todd. Even though I think John Oren does a good job with his voice delivery, he's just such an obvious creepshow that it's really weird to me how the heroes don't catch on he's the bad guy. Especially when in this scene he's just clearly staring at Teela's boobs. But also the point where he reveals his true face, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes down before this point, but here's where I kinda just check out. I mean, just look at his head! Also, I kind of feel like Zalewski couldn't decide if Todd uses magic or science as his primary tactic, so he kinda uses both. I don't know, but yeah. Did I also mention his name is fucking Todd? One big thing that bothers me about this entire episode is the ridiculously high amount of recycled animation. Todd, for one, is just the evil carnival owner from the Heart of a Giant. His robot servants are just Skeletor's Salt Shaker robots, and even the space beyond the Stargate is just the pocket dimension from the taking of Grayskull. Oh hey, and Duncan brought his useless lightsaber along again. And what makes this reused animation stand out so badly is because the new animation is honestly, well, I wouldn't say better, but it's almost ridiculously cartoony, especially all those scenes with Cringer and the steak. In fact, another general criticism I have for this episode is the direction. There are just so many weird decisions that the episode director Steve Clark made that I'm honestly baffled as to how he could screw up the episode this badly. Firstly, there's these 2 palace guards who are seemingly guarding nothing. We even see them stand around at the end. Secondly, there's this really awkward scene with Adam and Cringer where the audio is just indecipherable.
Adam, this big monster ate my dinner. It was awful.
The Salt Shaker robots also make this weird wobbly noise, which really doesn't make them sound very threatening. The action scenes are also pretty awkward, except surprisingly whenever Teela does anything, and oh my fucking god, Duncan nearly trips and fails to escape from the pocket dimension for no reason! The basic problem of this episode is that it's trying to have this super powerful one-off villain, yet the episode isn't able to really make any scene with him feel powerful or important. The whole episode is just too goofy. All of these goofy little highlights completely undercut any tension from any scene. But even with all of that, I have to say that Todd is just a pretty boring villain. Way worse than Melbrack from The Gambler. However, one thing I can definitely give credit to Zalewski for is that he didn't make Teela completely useless, which is something that tended to happen a lot with these less than stellar He-Man writers. She actually holds her own against Todd, right up until Duncan gets himself trapped like an idiot. Okay, so are there any other redeeming qualities to this episode? Well, I do have to admit that while I kinda dismissed him the first couple of times I watched this episode, I think Moak might in fact be my favorite character in this episode. He's just so pathetic yet eager to help. I do think he's a bit of a convenience character, but as a reward for his heroism, he's given a pair of glasses, and that's stupid, but also kind of adorable. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's not a lot of good things to say about this episode. Even though I hate Buzzov and didn't think Smudge was a great character, I do think all of Zalewski's other scripts are a bit more refined and interesting. This one is just about a lame one-off villain, but I do think that the episode director didn't exactly help the cause. Anyway, that's the review. Until next time, I have the power, so can you.